Okay, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
We are back. We are here with our mid-week Torah class. We are going to be looking at this week's Torah portion, which is Tzav. Tzav is the Torah portion, which is command. The Torah portion goes from, we are looking at the JPS version, which starts at chapter 6. Actually, the King James is chapter 6, verse 8. So I'm just going to put I have the JPS versions. The beginning verses are different, but the end verses are the same. All right, so it starts chapter 6 and goes all the way through chapter 8, verse 36. And if you just happen to be following along in the King James, it begins on chapter 6, verse 8. There's a little bit of a discrepancy with the verses, but it's just for one chapter. All right, so we're going to begin with reading chapter 6 from our textbook. And we're going to read, I want to read all the way up till verse 11. So let me put up on the screen here. One second here. Bit of this. All right. Go ahead. It's chapter 1, verse 1. Yeah.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. It is that which goeth up on its firewood upon the altar, all night unto the morning. And the fire of the altar shall be kept burning thereby, and the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh. And he shall take up the ashes whereto the fire hath consumed the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. And the fire upon the altar shall be kept burning thereby, it shall not go out. And the priest shall kindle wood on it every morning, and he shall lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and shall make smoke thereon the fat of the peace offerings. Fire shall be kept burning upon the altar continually, it shall not go out. And this is the law of the meal offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before Yahweh in front of the altar. And he shall take up therefrom his handful of the fine flour of the meal offering, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meal offering, and shall make the memorial part thereof smoke upon the altar, for a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And that which is left thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat. It shall be eaten without leaven in a holy place. In the court of the tent of meeting they shall eat it. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy as the sin offering and as the guilt offering. Every male among the children of Aaron may eat of it, as a due forever throughout your generations. from the offerings of Yahweh made by fire. Whatsoever toucheth them shall be holy.
Okay, very good. So, let's go back first of all and look at the namesake here in verse 2, which is command, Tzav. Tzav, let me pull up our tools here. This word Tzav is Tzava, which is to constitute, enjoin, appoint, to bid or to forbid, right? To give a charge, to command. It's also send a messenger, or to put in order, or to set in order. All right, so this word here that is translated as command, right? That's what it means, right? To order something, to direct, to appoint something. Something is commanded. And so we look here, the Most High speaking to Moses is giving this command. It's interesting when we look at our, it's not in here. I don't know where I was looking at that at, but somewhere I thought it talked about this word Tzav here as, whenever you see this word here, command Aaron is something that he's supposed to actually do right away, straight away. It's interesting when we looked before at some of the other commands, and it was dealing with, it dealt with the priest and offering that he brought, and it was kind of general things in terms of telling us what was a burnt offering and what was a peace offering and what was a meal offering, kind of giving us these various classifications. But now, these directions that are given here, it seems as if they are, they're really getting ready to get to going with these various offerings. Like before we learned what the classifications were for an offering, and then now this is the command for Aaron and his sons to actually go and do these things. And so, a couple things, and we go down to verse 5. If we go down to verse 5, JPS verse 5.
King James verse
Huh?
King James verse 12.
Yeah. Okay, so if we look here, it says, and the priest shall kindle wood on it every morning. The priest shall kindle wood on it. The altar, this is the altar where they made the sacrifices at. And we see here that it says to kindle the wood every morning. Nobody wants to say anything about this.
We just talked about kindling a fire.
I'll say, so it's interesting, the King James says burn the wood. But remember, when we thought about the idea of kindling, it has the idea of burning, because obviously this here is translated as burn, but it also has the idea of actually starting the fire. Or if they were, as it says here, to kindle wood on it every morning, it seems as if bare minimum he's getting this wood and putting it on the fire in the morning so that it can continue to burn.
Interesting.
That's on the altar.
On the altar. This is the
On
altar.
outside, in the courtyard.
The altar is, yes, that's the courtyard. Yes, the altar's in the courtyard. The altar's in the courtyard. But we read the other week in regards to creating the, putting the, building the tabernacle, and then it revisited the Sabbath law at the very outset of it, and it said not to kindle wood, not to kindle a fire on the Shabbat. Now this is the altar, the brazen altar, where the burnt offerings were brought. And so it always had to, just like the menorah was always burning, the altar, it always had to be ready. It always had to have fire. It always had to have wood. Here it's saying for you to kindle every morning. And so let's look at that word there. Kindle is ba'ar, which is, by the way, the same word. Let's look over here real quick. Now let's put this over here. Let's look at this word here. Exodus 35 and 3. Here, we just read it, right?
It says, "Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day."
Okay, very good. So this here is, now let's go back up. So if we go up, we think about this, Moses assembled all the congregation, the children of Israel, and said unto them. So he's speaking to the people, all the people, right? These are the words which I commanded to do them 6 days, don't do no work, and you shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. I feel like this is a command for the people. I feel like this is a command for the people, because the priests, we seen over here in Leviticus chapter 6, these commands, it says, Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons. So these commands are to Aaron and his sons. They have to kindle wood on the brazen altar every morning. They got to keep the thing going. They have to continue and have the fire to continue, because again, if we go back over to Leviticus,
They got, no matter how much work it takes to keep that fire going, they gotta keep that fire going.
they got to keep that fire going, because it said over here that, hold on, let's scroll down here. Put it on, put the garments. The fire upon the altar shall be kept burning thereby, and it shall not go out. Right? And so it got to burn. Oh, that's the very same verse, right? It can't go out. It has to keep on burning. So kindle it every morning. Okay, so again, so differentiation here, it seems, must be that previously, when it talked about kindling the fire, it was dealing with the general population, right?
Because the people, they would just be doing all that work for their own selves. This is doing work for y'all.
Right.
You know, I remember, I remember someone criticizing us at one point because we were renting a space out for the Sabbath, and we had to put the chairs up. And it was like, oh, they're doing all this work on the Sabbath, and it's like, the priests work on the Shabbat.
Yeah. If you're gonna be somewhere, you gotta
put some chairs.
You gotta put the chairs up. If we gotta sit down, unless you want to stand up.
I mean, that person could have stood up as far as I was concerned.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I literally had no thought for that person again after that. But it's just, you know, like the priests have to keep. I can just imagine them coming up to the tabernacle and saying, "Wow, you're doing all this work to keep this fire going on the Shabbat." Well, the fire can't go out on the Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't go out. We gotta keep on burning. All right. All right. So let's go down to verse. We seen verse 5. It talks about the kindling. Verse 6 again. It says the fire shall be kept burning upon the altar continually. It shall not go out. We read down to 11. And here is Teresa's favorite verse. Teresa's favorite verse. Leviticus 6 and 11. Read 6 and 11 again for us.
Every male among the children of Aaron may eat of it as a due forever throughout your generations. From the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, whatsoever touches them shall be holy.
Whatsoever touches them shall be holy. All right, so just double checking now. What's this saying here? Whatsoever touches them shall be holy.
Oh wait, that's I talking about the altar. This is about the offering.
But the wording's the same though, ain't it? Ain't the wording the same?
It is the same, yes.
Because this is saying the person got to be holy in order to touch it. Right? This right here is saying that the person got to be holy so that he could touch it. What's the verse that you like that talks about the altar? Because I think the wording is the same, ain't it? Because this right here,
Whatsoever touches the altar shall be holy. Don't press up.
it literally says, whatsoever touches the altar shall be holy. Because this right here says you got to be holy.
Exodus 29:37.
29:7.
29:37.
29:37.
It says 7 days.
Oh, it literally says the
Make
altar.
atonement for the altar and sanctify it. Thus shall be the altar Thus shall the altar be most holy. Whatsoever toucheth the altar shall be holy. So the same thing for the altar.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. I feel like you gotta be holy to touch it.
Well, in this one, I'm saying for this, it's like, I think it's just saying, in my reading of it, that, only did what, like, he did, or touch the offering, would be someone who's holy.
Yeah, because this one, if you go down, if you keep on going, later on in the portion, in chapter 7 and 21, let's jump over there real quick. We'll jump back, but oh, my cursor keeps getting. Let's jump over to 7:21.
7:21. That says, and when anyone shall touch any unclean thing, whether it be the uncleanness of man or an unclean beast, or any unclean detestable thing, and eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto Yahweh, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Okay, right. So this talks about somebody who touched the unclean thing, and then they go and touch the offering. And since they're not, they're unclean, and then they touch the offering, it says that person need to be cut off. Right? So he has to be clean. Like part of his a prerequisite for him actually touching the thing is that he is clean. All right, let's jump back over to 6. Because if we go over to, let's see, 12. Okay, so read, 12 down through 16.
12 down to 16 says, and Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, this is the offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer unto Yahweh in the day when he is anointed. The 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meal offering, perpetually, half of it in the morning and half thereof in the evening. On a griddle it shall be made with oil. When it is soaked, thou shalt bring it in. And broken pieces shalt thou offer the meal offering for a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And the anointed priest shall be in his stead, from among his sons shall offer it. It is a due forever. It shall be wholly made to smoke unto Yahweh. And every meal offering of the priest shall be wholly made to smoke, and it shall not be eaten.
Okay, very good. So if we look over here at verse 13, this offering now, there's a special offering made for Aaron and his sons when they are initiated. In the day that they are initiated, in the day that he is anointed, the day that he's anointed to actually be the priest, this is the thing that he brings. Okay, this is like kind of a one-time deal. Our textbook over here talks about this being the commencement. right? When he is anointed. All right, so I want to pay attention to, because we're going to see this later, this word here, let's see here. It says in 13, when he is anointed. Oh, no, this is not the, this is, no, because this is just going to be, let's see, hold on one second. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be anointed or rubbed or anoint. But there's another, if we see down here, let's see, we read down to 16. We see that same kind of command as it regards to the law of the sin offering, because in verse 20 it says that every person who touches that has to be holy, which it seems like if a person, like before, remember we talked about the burnt offering, and the guy, if you was bringing a burnt offering, you could kill the offering, and then the priest just had to do the sprinkle the blood, right? But with this sin offering here, let's read 18. Let's read 18 down through 20.
18 down to 20 says, "Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, shall the sin offering be killed before Yahweh. It is most holy. The priest that offereth it for sin shall eat it. In the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tent of meeting. Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled on the blood, and when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in a holy place."
Okay, this basically solves the question here. Verse 19, the priest that offers it for a sin shall eat it. The priest is the one that's offering the sin offering, right? It's a burnt offering, but it's a burnt offering that's a sin offering, which makes it different. It's saying that it's offered, the priest is the one that offers it, and anybody who touches the flesh must be holy. So if you're bringing a sin offering, you probably got some issues to begin with, right? That would deal with your holiness or lack thereof until your sin gets atoned for, right?
Correct.
So I think based on the simple fact that you're actually bringing a sin offering, I feel like that kind of disqualifies you from touching the sin offering, the flesh, right? Because the flesh is holy, right? And so, and besides that, the priest, it says in 19, the priest that offers it for a sin shall eat it. Right? So the priest is the one doing this one, right? It is a burnt offering. The sin offering is a burnt offering, but it's, burnt offerings have categories, right? And so this is a sin offering, which the priest, he got to take care of that. Okay, look at verse 21. Let's see, 21 through 23.
23. It says, but the earthen vessel wherein it is sodden shall be broken. And if it be sodden in a brazen vessel, it shall be scoured and rinsed in water. Every male among the priests may eat thereof. It is most holy. And no sin offering, wherefore any of the blood was brought into the tent of meeting to make atonement in the holy place shall be eaten. It is burnt with fire.
Okay, very good. So you basically can't cleanse a pot. Like a clay pot, you can't cleanse it because it's porous. And I guess uncleanness is going to get in the pores.
It's in all the crevices.
Huh?
The crevices.
Yeah, so you can't cleanse this earthen vessel. If it's a brazen vessel, then it could be scorched, right? Which is what? Burned. Scorched. Polished, sharpened, bright. Oh, scoured. Scoured. That's just scrubbed with a Brillo pad. All right, so you can scrub a brazen vessel. You can't cleanse a porous vessel. That has to be broken.
There was no coming back for it.
No, no. Okay, let's go over to 7 because it begins to talk about the guilt offering. And our numbers are fixed. All right, so let's read 7:1 down to verse 7.
It says, this is the law of the guilt offering. It is most holy, in the place where they kill the burnt offering shall they kill the guilt offering. And the blood thereof shall be dashed against the altar round about, and he shall offer of it all the fat thereof, the fat tail, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the priest shall make them smoke upon the altar, for an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. It is a guilt offering. Every male among the priests may eat thereof. It shall be eaten in a holy place, where it is most holy. As is the sin offering, so is the guilt offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement therewith, he shall have it.
Okay, very good. All right, so
I don't know why it was so hard to read those words.
oh yeah, they're all smashed together. Yeah, they couldn't fit everything in there. Yeah. All right, so let's look at this here. 7:1, the guilt offering. The King James calls it the trespass offering. That word there is asham. Asham. That's a shame. Asham. Asham is a shame. Asham. Asham. Ha-asham. The guilt offering. Guilt, by implication, a fault. Also a sin offering, guiltiness, sin, trespass. Okay, so this offering that's brought is brought because of a fault, right? You have become guilty as a result of something or other, right? You have this guilt has been placed upon you, and it becomes necessary for you to bring this guilt offering. Trespass, when you think about a trespass, when I think about trespassing, I think about no trespassing, how you have somehow wandered into a zone that you don't have the permission to be in, right? If you've trespassed, you've crossed a boundary that you don't have permission to have crossed. And so, when you think about this guilt offering, again, this is one of those situations where you've become guilty. What's it say? What's it say over here in our textbook here? Unlike the sin offering, it did not bring complete expiation. It was brought either as penalty for a trespass when it had to be offered besides the restitution, or in doubtful cases where its purpose was to suspend the effects of sin. And so you think about the sin offering is dealing with the sin. But when it says that this guilt offering is not dealing with expiation, that means that you still need to have atonement for your situation. Right? So if let's just take it outside of sacrifices. If we was to say, well, somebody somebody slapped me and they said sorry, but what about the effects of you slapping me? Right? What about the fact that when you slapped me, my glasses got knocked off? Right? So there's these other consequences that have to be dealt with, that just a mere apology isn't good enough, right? And so this guilt offering is maybe, you know what? Maybe the guilt offering is the sorry. Maybe the guilt offering is the sorry, right? It's the thing you've amassed this guilt, this shame, this fault. You say sorry, but sorry is it's not always good enough. Sometimes you need more than just sorry. All right?
Yeah.
And so I need more than the fault or the blame to be given to me. Right? And so when we think about this guilt offering, again, this is a formality. It's a part of the situation, but as it says over here, it's not something that comes by itself, right? Let's keep on going here. Let's look at, that was 7, down to 7. Oh, yeah, we read in verse 7. We read 7, right?
7, yeah.
Okay, so as is the sin offering, so is the guilt offering. There is one law for them. The priest that makes atonement therewith, he shall have it. That's interesting they use that word there. Because if they're saying that there's no expiation, atonement really is expiation. Maybe the priest, he brings a sin offering, so therefore he's bringing the atonement. Not to say necessarily that the guilt offering is bringing the atonement, but the priest that's operating here, he has it. He shall have it. All right, let's drop down here. Let's see.
Or even
What? You talking about this?
you were on verse 7. Were you on verse 7?
Yeah. Okay, and right now I'm about to drop down to, okay, so 15, let's see, flesh, sacrifice, offerings. Okay, so when we go down to 15, it talks about the fact that the offering got to be eaten. Here, read 15 down to 18. 15, 16, 17, 18.
15, here we go. It says, and the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving shall be eaten on the day of his offering. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow or a free will offering, it shall be eaten on the day that he offereth his sacrifice. And on the morrow, that which remaineth of it may be eaten. But that which remaineth of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be at all eaten on the third day, it shall not be accepted, neither shall it be imputed unto him that offereth it. It shall be an abhorred thing, and the soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity. And the flesh that toucheth any unclean thing shall not be eaten, it shall be burnt with fire. And as for the flesh, every one that is clean may eat thereof.
Okay, very good. So, you think about, do you even want to eat something that is unrefrigerated 3 days later, like on the third day? And we're not talking about it's not like smoked meat. It's just regular grilled meat. And so I think part of this is by the third day, it's not fit to be eaten anymore. Right? It's something it's lost its status as even being something that somebody even wants to eat. Right? And that's why it turns into over here, it says something that is abhorred. Right? It went from, something that's good the second day, you want to eat it the second day, okay, you can have it the second day, but the third day is, and to me, it's just not even, it's nasty now after the third day.
Right.
It don't matter what choice selection of meat it could have been.
Yes.
It don't really matter.
Unless you're talking about something that's smoked, where it's kind of that's cured, where it's something that would, it lasts longer. But just something that's just regular grilled, it's not the same thing. And I feel like this is just that. Right? And so you took something, this fresh thing, this thing that's, in places it's called holy, and then, you just kind of it just sat there. You didn't eat it. You didn't give it to the other holy people who are able to eat it, and it just, it went bad, basically. You didn't read 20. Read 20.
20.
Because it's serious too. It's very serious.
It says in 20, it says, but the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings that pertain unto Yahweh, having his uncleanness upon him, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Okay, wait. 19, the flesh that touches any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burnt with fire, and as the flesh, everyone that is clean may eat. Oh, but if he's unclean, he's cut off. There's a lot of things that kind of just deal with, it seems like a pretty hefty offense here. If you are unclean and you touch this clean thing, the clean thing don't make you clean. And as a matter of fact, because you touched the clean thing while you was unclean, you're cut off. Which is pretty, it's pretty serious. It's a pretty serious, and I think it's interesting when we think about kind of the separations, the differentiations between clean and unclean. The fact that we want to keep the things that are holy and clean apart from the things that are unholy, right? Unclean. And so it's kind of like, what do you call it? A principle. It's kind of like a principle that's established, and it's just kind of going all throughout, various applications in terms of, if it's a holy food, if it's this offering that is a holy thing, I have to actually be holy in order to touch the thing and eat the thing. And if I'm not holy and I do touch the thing, now it's a violation that's worthy of me being banished, cut off. It's interesting when you think about when we think about like the things that go on in the New Testament and the issues with the Pharisees and Yeshua and Peter and various ones when it comes to dealing with unclean things. If you live in this world where you have this distinction, right? You can understand why, you can understand how you get to a place of, I can't be with those people. I can't go over there and be with them because they, they're not clean, right? They're unclean. Right? How am I supposed to go over there and be with them? And those people are, the way that they are. But this is like the thought process. Like this is where, they're at. Is where there's a clear distinction between that which is clean and unclean. And those things don't mix. And in some cases, when you do sit up here and mix those things, that soul shall be cut off from his people. Like it's a banishable offense. And so it's interesting when you think about kind of the culture that is, that was, as it relates to, these various distinctions here. All right, let's keep on going here. All right, so if we drop down to 20, let's read 22 to 27.
27. Oh, you said 21?
22, 27.
It says, and Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Ye shall eat no fat of ox or sheep or goat, and the fat of that which dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn of beasts may be used for any other service, but she shall in no wise eat of it. For whosoever eateth the fat of the beast of which men present an offering made by fire unto Yahweh, even the soul that eateth it shall be cut off from his people. And ye shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of fowl or of beast, in any of your dwellings. Whosoever it be that eateth any blood, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Okay, very good. So here we see, especially as it relates to the offerings, but then it talks about, it kind of broadens it in terms of saying no manner of blood, right? Or the fat, right? And so you're not eating the fat, you're not eating the blood, right? The life is in the blood. When you deal with these offerings and things, you're giving these things over unto the Most High. So you can't give that over to the Most High and keep it for yourself. You had a lot of these different customs that the peoples had, where they're sitting up there doing these things where you're able to be invigorated if you would drink the blood of these animals, like you're getting some life from the animal into you, right? And so this is also part of separations and sanctifications, dedications unto the Most High, and being different from these other nations, that dealt with blood, right? And so when you look at these, this also here, as it says here, is a banishable. And I'm saying banishable because it's saying cut off from his people, where, I think it probably means you're put out, I would say. Disfellowship, yes. Put out of the camp. Okay, so it continues on all the way down to the end of that chapter, where it basically says that this is the law for the burnt offering, the meal offering, the sin offering, the guilt offering, the consecration offering, and the peace offering. It's giving you all these various things that you dealt with when doing these various things. All right, so I want to go lastly over to chapter 8. There was something interesting over there. Let's read chapter 8, 1 through, let's see here, 13. Here, let me pull it up. I don't know how to, oh, here we go. Keep losing my.
If you press that arrow, it'll go straight to the next chapter. That arrow there at the top.
What arrow you see? Oh, right there. Oh, man. That's crazy.
It says, you said 1 through 13?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, and Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and the bullock of the sin offering, the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened bread. And assemble thou all the congregation at the door of the tent of meeting. And Moses did as Yahweh commanded him. And the congregation was assembled at the door of the tent of meeting. And Moses said unto the congregation, This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded to be done. And Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. And he put upon him the tunic, and girded him with the girdle, and clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod upon him, and he girded him with the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and bound it unto him therewith. And he placed the breastplate upon him, and in the breastplate he put the girdle and the Thummim, and he set the mitre upon his head, and upon the mitre in front did he set the golden plate, the holy crown, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was therein, and sanctified them. And he sprinkled thereof upon the altar 7 times, and anointed the altar and all its vessels, and the laver and its base, to sanctify them. And he poured of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head, and anointed him to sanctify him. And Moses brought Aaron's sons, and clothed them with tunics, and girded them upon the girdles, and bound head tires upon them, as Yahweh commanded Moses.
Head tires. Head tires. Okay, so this is, again, now before we talked about the fact that it told you what was to be done when the priest was anointed, when he was initiated on basically his consecration day. And so when we look over here, we see basically this is the consecration day of the high priest and the other priests. And Moses is the one who is officiating. And so from this point on, the thing that Moses is doing, the high priest will do. Right? And so if there's a high priest, when he's making the next high priest be the high priest, he's going to do this thing that Moses is doing to him right here. Right, where he takes Aaron and he takes his sons with him and he takes the garments.
What's the garment?
Do they literally dress him?
He dressed him.
From what?
He probably just handed it to him.
Hey, go put this on.
He didn't say you did that.
He dressed him, I think. He washed him with water. Verse 6, he washed them. Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them. Is this like a ceremonial cleansing that he doing here? Is he literally like washing them? You know, because it talks about over here, it talks about how, what do it say over here? Verse 8. Because, you know, they go in there, they wash their hands and their feet. But he washing them, right? I mean, it's pretty serious. He washes them, he dresses them, he put the clothes on them.
He really got to make sure they're whole.
He gotta do all of the things, right? Let's go back because verse 3 in our textbook, it mentions over here that it says all the congregation.
It does say he, it says that he washed them.
You talking about Moses, yeah. And Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them. He did it, right? And he put the tunic on. And he girded them. He clothed them with he put all the clothes on. He did all of the things. Right? Moses brought. Oh, washed.
Yeah, thanks.
See, this is saying over here, the textbooks say, i.e., he commanded them to wash their hands and feet. That's what Ibn Ezra said. According to the Sifra, the priests were also to bathe first the entire body, as the high priest did on the Day of Atonement. Ordinarily, they washed only the hands and feet on entering the sanctuary, but on the day of consecration, complete immersion was required. Spiritual significance of the act of immersion as the first stage of their consecration is obvious. So it's saying here that he commanded them to wash their hands and feet. But I don't know.
I think he actually did.
I'm saying based.
Or he at least oversaw that they did it.
Yeah, like you missed a spot right there. Get this little spot right there.
I mean, it's almost like if someone self-immerses themselves, then someone has to watch them do it to make sure it fully went all the way in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, like that one time we was up at the place and we was immersing the people and they wasn't all the way in, and they had to get all the way down in there, push them down there. We had to literally wash them. I mean, I believe in that. I'm cracking up. I think sometimes you just gotta wash the people, right? All right, so another thing that as we getting close over here, another thing that the textbook brings up is in verse 12. Because if we notice, let's go back to Exodus 29 and 21 real quick. Exodus 29 and 21. Here, read that for us, sir.
And thou shalt take of the blood that is upon the altar and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons with him. And he and his garments shall be hallowed, and his sons' garments with him.
Okay, so there we see they take the blood on the altar and the oil and sprinkle. Nazah, sprinkle, spurt, or sprinkle. Just like they take the blood and then they sprinkle the altar, right? And here they're taking the blood, they're taking the oil, and they're sprinkling the priests, right? But if we go over to back to Leviticus chapter 8 and verse 12, it say he poured the oil on his head. He wasn't sprinkling nothing. Okay? He was yatsaking him with it. He poured out, to melt or cast as metal, to place firmly, stiff and grow, cast, cleave fast down. Right? And so this idea here of this pouring, it was like it was getting some oil on you, right? When this priest was anointed when this was his consecration, right? This was him going from being this, a regular person to a high priest, right? He's going from a lay person to the priest that operated in the service of the priesthood, right? And so that oil, it says, was poured upon his head, right? You know, as if to say the other ones, you know, they just got a little sprinkle, or they got a little splash, a little, oh, you might got some in your eyes, right? But this here, you know, it was poured on, right? Was that all of them? He poured of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head. The high priest got his head was soaked with oil. He had a extra heavy special anointing on his head, right, as the high priest, right? He didn't just get like a little splash, right? He got that thing yatzakt on his head. It poured out, right? Because he's the high priest, right? He's the guy. And so it's interesting that we see that here in verse 12 as part of this consecration process that happens with the high priest, you know, and again, as Moses here operates as the high priest, he's the one that goes and that he does all of this, right? And so when all of the things that it said that the priest was supposed to do in this consecration thing, Moses is going to do it because, you know, he operates. It's interesting, he didn't get all of this stuff done to him, right? Moses did. Well, I mean, I guess he just talked to the Most High and got, yeah, I mean, I mean, I guess he's qualified to do it, but it's just interesting that, you know, Moses, who operates as, I mean, I guess at some point it has to start at some point, right? You got to start somewhere, and we see Moses here is, again, he operates as the high priest this one time as he initiates his brother Aaron and also Aaron's sons, you know, for them to go ahead and do their thing.
And I think it's also interesting that he didn't do this to his own sons. Like he's literally passing his torch on to, well, I mean, his family, but it's not like his immediate lineage.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of handing over the keys to, you know, his brother.
Right. Yeah, and he don't. What do his kids get? I mean, I guess they get well. Still. So Moses is from the priestly lineage, as far as his family line goes, but these high priests and the ones who were able to become the high priest, the sons of Aaron, you know, they had the most prestigious of positions.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, truthfully, yeah, I think the sons of Moses, they kind of made out, really. Because it's a serious thing that these guys, you know, that they hold here. All right, so that's what we have there for the first half of the Torah portion of Tzav, it ends off with the consecration of the priests and the high priest. And so, y'all willing, we on Shabbat will deal with the final, which it looks like it's just the rest of the chapter 8. We'll deal with what's left, y'all willing, on Shabbat. And y'all willing, we'll be back on Shabbat to do so. Okay? All right, so for now, we'll say shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.